Good morning, everybody.
Bonjour à toutes et tous.
I welcome the Macedonian media here in Brussels. This is a historic moment. We have just finished the intergovernmental conference with North Macedonia. We have three distinguished guests on the stage. Foreign Minister Jan Lipavsky, who chairs the conference on behalf of the Czech presidency. We have PM Kovachevski, Prime Minister of North Macedonia, and Oliver Varhelyi, EU Commissioner for Enlargement. I would first ask Foreign Minister Lipavsky to give a statement.
Thank you. I'm delighted that the first intergovernmental conference on the accession of North Macedonia to the EU has taken place today. This marks the opening of the EU accession negotiations with North Macedonia. I'm very pleased that their neighbour and fellow candidate Albania will also be starting their negotiations in a few moments. Today we've reached a milestone in the evolution of the EU-North Macedonia relationship and demonstrated clearly the EU's unequivocal support to the European perspective of the Western Balkans. The future of the Western Balkans is in the European Union. I'm also glad that this historic moment is taking place during the Czech presidency of the Council. The enlargement and the EU integration of the Western Balkan countries has long been a priority for the Czech Republic. We know the decision-making process in North Macedonia was painful and demanding, but in the end, resilience, determination, and true spirit prevailed. This major achievement would not be possible without the commitment and determination of our French colleagues, who have forged a complex and difficult compromise. The opening of the accession negotiation comes in a time where the strength of our relation is more important than ever. After the show of solidarity and mutual support from both the Western Balkan partners and the EU during the COVID-19 crisis, Russia's unjustified and unprovoked military aggression against Ukraine is having a significant impact on the entire European continent. The countries of the Western Balkans are expected to commit to European values as future EU member states. We greatly welcome North Macedonia's full alignment with all EU common foreign and security policy decisions and declarations, and encourage North Macedonia to continue to fully align with the EU common and foreign and security policy in the future. North Macedonia is a candidate country since 2005 and a close partner of the European Union as a part of the stabilization and association process. We welcome North Macedonia's determination to advance on the EU reform agenda and expect continued political commitment to carry out necessary reforms thoroughly and vigorously. The EU is ready to support North Macedonia on its way to becoming a fully fledged member of the European Union and in fulfilling the conditions of the accession process. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Prime Minister, the floor is yours.
Почитувани представници на медиумни граѓани. Денес ми припадна огромна чест да се обратам на мојот мајчин македонски јазик.
Speak into Macedonian language before the member states of the EU on the ICG that opens the negotiations for membership of North Macedonia to the EU. First of all, I would like to congratulate the citizens of North Macedonia. They are best deserved for these results. They made compromises, they overcame challenges to belong to the EU. Finally, 17 years later, and many difficult compromises, we are opening the process for accession of North Macedonia into the large European family. The first step towards our European future has been made, and our 3 decades-long dream is at reach. Today is the day when we are starting to write a new chapter in the Macedonian history, a chapter of accelerated growth, development, and stability. Today's day is a historic one. We have been waiting for it for a long time. I also congratulate and thank the citizens for their endurance, for their clear vision about the country that we want to build and about the country we want to leave to the future generations. I devote this day to all of them, to all our citizens, to all our leaders, political representatives, the civil society, the academic and scientific workers, entrepreneurs, journalists, media workers, and thousands workers in the administration who dared to work to fulfill this vision. In order to complete this objective, we have done a lot. We made difficult decisions that required courage and leadership, patriotic attitude towards the country and towards the generations to come. There is no greater patriotism and plan for the future than being committed to the prosperity of the country and the citizens. We made the final decision that protects and reinforces the Macedonian identity, Macedonian language, culture, and uniqueness. The European culture accepts us as Macedonians who speak Macedonian language, respecting the dignity of the Macedonian people and its identity and cultural specifics. This is secured forever. These things are not negotiable. I'm convinced that the citizens will be the winners in this process, that all of us will be stronger, stable, and that we will have a better future. I'm also convinced that the continuous assistance that will be provided by the EU will enable the Macedonian citizens and the Macedonian economy to have concrete and real support, so that we can live the European reality today and in the real way, honoring our tradition and uniqueness, and with clear vision for the future, we move the country forward. For today's and future generation, we are building a democratic European society where there will be place for all, where the rule of law will take the primate and the citizens will be advancing. The European principles of freedom, value, and democracy and equality is what we are striving for. We are naturally related to the European Union, and as of now, we will jointly develop and we will develop the region. Our country is Little Europe. Our multicultural, multi-confessional, and multi-ethnic democracy will not only enrich the European Union, but it will serve as a successful example for a country that is integrated into the European Union. We daily live the motto of the European Union. We are united in its diversity, and we are proud of it. North Macedonia is land of friendship. We are building friendships. We're committed to finding mutually acceptable solutions, and that is why we stand here shoulder to shoulder with our partners in the European Union. We share the same values, and as of now, we'll share the European future. European future with unconditional respect for the specifics of the Macedonian people and its characteristics. European future in which, with full-fledged membership, the Macedonian language will be one of the official languages of the EU, without any explanations, additions, or footnotes. A future where all our specifics, tradition, culture, customs will be authentically our, Macedonian, but also shared with all our friends in the European Union. This is what us and the European Union will make us richer. As of today, we're going forward and upward. North Macedonia, economically, politically, and socially will develop, and the citizens will have higher quality of life with high standards for compliance with the law. It is time to unite. It is time for optimism, for trust in better tomorrow. But most of all, it is time for commitment to develop strong, successful, and prosperous European country, and to efficiently and fastly integrate into the Union. It is time for the new sun of the freedom to rise and to help us to achieve our dream, the dream of Ilinden, the dream of the fighters in the national wars. It is time to face our fears and to make new decisions for the future, not to remain in the past. I believe that What man does in difficult times is what defines him. Whether we will remain in status quo or we will face our fears, my associates and I decided to be courageous and selfless, not to think about us, but to think of the future generations for peace, prosperity, and future. I will quote Jean Monnet, "There is no future for the people of Europe other than in the Union." I congratulate us all, the commencement of the accession negotiations, and I hope that we will be looking forward to the full-fledged membership into the European Union. Again, congratulations to all the citizens of Republic of North Macedonia. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Prime Minister. And Commissioner Varhelyi, please.
Thank you. Dear Prime Minister Kovachevski, dear Minister Lipavsky, ladies and gentlemen, today is not only an important moment for North Macedonia, but also for the European Union. This political intergovernmental conference is the end of a long process and the beginning of a new phase of accession negotiations, something we hope to see going much faster. First, I want to commend the tireless efforts of the Presidency, and also in particular the French Presidency, in advancing our common objective. I also appreciate the strong engagement of all EU member states and for their very high-level participation today and their political commitment to make Europe move forward. This intergovernmental conference is of a significant importance for three reasons. First, this marks the beginning of a new chapter in the accession process for North Macedonia into the European Union. 17 years after the candidate status and 13 years after our first recommendation to open accession negotiations. The country has shown resilience all the way and also determination to advance on the EU path. And throughout the road, North Macedonia was and is a reliable partner. It is also a well-deserved recognition of all the progress, of course, that your country has made, Prime Minister, over the past years in advancing the EU reforms. Second, for the very first time, we apply the revised enlargement methodology in its entirety with the new accession negotiations. And third, our message today to the citizens of North Macedonia is very clear. We want you in the EU. There is no doubt about that. Today we also send a very powerful message to the whole region and even beyond that. On the Commission side, we will continue to do all we can to speed up the pace of the accession negotiations and process for North Macedonia. No later than this afternoon, we will launch the screening of the EU acquis, and this is the first step in the process of the accession negotiations. I'm very confident that with the determination of North Macedonia, we can work quickly and hardly and also effectively throughout the negotiations. Prime Minister, I want to count on you and your team to ensure wide national consensus on this path. I know it's not been easy, but you have opted for the most democratic process to ask the Parliament. And the sovereign has made it very clear. The sovereign, the representatives of the people made it clear that they want this to go forward and they want the accession process to accelerate. So today, Europe also made the decision. Europe also agreed with your Parliament. I think these are the moments that we need. These are the moments that are capable of changing Europe and moving Europe forward. Of course, We want you to continue to reach out to the stakeholders, the civil society, to engage with everybody in North Macedonia, because we will need in this process everybody in North Macedonia to work for the country and to work for North Macedonia becoming an EU member state. Because negotiations are transformative processes. I'm very hopeful that we will have immediate positive impact on the society, the economy, and this will bring immediate benefits to the citizens in the country as we speak. You can continue to count on our support, and we will continue building a common, prosperous, secure future together. Thank you.
Now we have time for your questions. I encourage you to use the microphones we have on both sides of the audience. First,
if the Prime Minister still believes, as he said the last time when he was in Brussels, that the people who have formulated criticism towards the French proposal in a most democratic and constructive way are to be considered hysterical, and does he still question the validity of their diploma? Or does he plan to maybe calm down the rhetoric and the attacks against the people who are critical of this proposal, which is their absolute fundamental and democratic right? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. As it was stated even here on this stage by the Commissioner, this decision was made by the Parliament, and it's really a sovereign decision by the representatives of the people of North Macedonia. We have made the process through the most democratic and transparent procedure, where all the stakeholders in the Macedonian society were involved, from political parties, academia, media, NGOs, experts. So all of them had extremely valuable contribution with their expertise in explaining and elaborating all the aspects of the European proposal, which was approved finally in the Parliament. So, as I stated on the Intergovernmental Conference, as I stated here in my address on the press conference, this is the result of the work of generations of politicians, academicians, experts, citizens of North Macedonia, and that is why I congratulate to all of them. Thank you.
Next question, Bobby Hristov, Telma Television.
Боби Христов, Телма телевизија, аз ќе ги поставам прашањата.
I will ask the questions in Macedonian. The first question to your Commissioner, Mr. Varhey. I will speak slowly for appropriate translation. Commissioner, having in mind your position published on Twitter, where you looked forward, as you said, that all Bulgarian concerns are part of the negotiating framework, my question would be the following. How, as a European Commission or European Union, will you prevent for the annual reports, part of Article 12 in the Friendship Agreement, to not be an obstacle for the negotiations? And what if the constitutional amendments are not adopted? What will happen with the negotiations? What will happen with the relations between Macedonia and EU?
Prime Minister,
Prime Minister, you speak of historic moments, and your hosts in general say that this is a process that requires national consensus. And today in Brussels, you come without such national consensus. The opposition not only announces that it will not vote on the constitutional amendments, but it also announced a referendum against the protocol with Bulgaria that was conditioned for you to be here today. Everyone is responsible, but the government is usually the most responsible. Prime Minister, how will you provide the consensus to reach the second step? Because you and your hosts said that this is the first step. In order to have the second one, we need to amend the constitution. Thank you.
The reporting of the Commission is an annual activity that we have been doing for many, many years with North Macedonia. And maybe it was not discovered by the press, but we have been reporting on these issues, on good neighborly relations, all the way with all accession countries. And we will continue to do so. So in itself, reporting is there to present the facts, not only for our member states, but also to the wider public. And this is what we are going to do, as we have been doing. On the constitutional amendment, I think it's clear that constitutional amendment will have to take place. There's a clear engagement and commitment taken not only by the government of North Macedonia, but by now the parliament. So I think, and this is why I have called this to be the most democratic way of obtaining a mandate for the government, because the arrangement, the French proposal, entails parts of the competencies of the parliament. And this is why it was very important to hear the sovereign, the parliament, whether it is ready to engage in such a solution. And it has. And it has made it very clear that they are ready to. And I'm very hopeful that from here on, all political parties in the country, including the opposition, will work for the European future and won't start controversies, won't start working up emotions that are not going to take the country forward, emotions that are not going to result anything meaningful for the country. And this is why I call on the opposition, and I have seen that very many of limits of political decency, of European values, have been bypassed during this debate. But I do hope that with this decision today and with this IGC today, we can turn all a page and focus on what needs doing for North Macedonia to become quickly an EU member state. Because I've been reading the statements of the opposition as well, of course, and they always argue that they are committed to make European membership happen for the country. So let's prove it.
Prime Minister, please.
Ви благодарам на прашањето.
Thank you for your question. This is a historic day. And every country during its existence has such historic days. That is why when I entered this building before the meeting of the first ICG, I mentioned some other such moments. North Macedonia and Macedonia before has had many historic decisions made during times of Kiro Gligorov, Nikola Klusev, during the time of Branko Crvenkovski. Historic decisions were made in the times of Boris Trajkovski. A great historic decision was made by the government of Zoran Zaev, and the country moved forward. And that is why today we are a democratic society that respects all democratic rights of each citizen, no matter their belonging. And that is why we are a NATO member state. During times of war in Europe, we are secure members of the greatest defense security alliance in the world. This decision is historic because the country moves forward towards accomplishing its second strategic goal, that is EU membership. And this is a decision that was confirmed by the Assembly with majority of votes. This majority included political parties from the opposition, but also political parties from the government. We heard everything in the parliament. We heard words that find no place there in the parliament. But the majority of the citizens, represented through the members of the parliament, made their decision, and thanks to this decision, we have this first intergovernmental conference. And after the completion of this press conference, the Deputy Prime Minister in European Affairs and the team of our government will start the screening process with their first meeting. The responsibility lies in the members of the parliament in the opposition. They need to be part of this debate. You said that this is the first step. There will be many steps further to the final full-fledged membership in the Union. Yes, that is true. The Assembly made the first step, and the Assembly is the place where we will need to make the second, the third, the fourth step, up until the final membership of Republic of North Macedonia into the European Union. It is the responsibility of each politician to think of the future of the country and to think of future generations. A politician cannot think of their own ratings and their political careers. Even in my address, I said, we were led by the future of the country. We were led to make a decision that will provide future and prosperity for all citizens of the country. And I believe that all members of the parliament in the Republic of North Macedonia will be responsible and will serve the citizens. Because today, all manipulations, speculations, everything that was said and was not true are dissolved. Today, I spoke into Macedonian. Today, the President of the European Commission said that our identity will be stronger in the European Union. I have a press conference into Macedonian language. Today, in the first ICG, all member states welcomed our first step towards full-fledged membership into the EU. It is a responsibility of all politicians in the country to support this path, because it is the only path for North Macedonia towards building a more successful and prosperous future, because we have no other alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Minister, would you like to add something? Unfortunately, we don't have time for any other questions because we need to proceed with another intergovernmental conference with Albania. The press conference will follow after. We thank you very much and have a good day.